"You're fired, Quincy. Get out." The words cut through Studio 4 like glass. 24-track mixing board humming. Red recording light still blinking. Michael Jackson standing behind the console, finger pointing toward the exit. Quincy Jones froze, headphones around his neck, coffee cup halfway to his lips. "What did you just say?" "You heard me. We're done. Pack your equipment." This was March 15th, 1987. Westlake Recording Studios, Hollywood. The biggest producer in music history had just been fired by the biggest star on the planet. What happened in the next 30 minutes would split the music industry in half. Before we get to Quincy's insane response, hit subscribe for more incredible, untold music stories. Now back to the chaos. The studio fell silent. Dead silent. Not the kind of quiet that comes from concentration. The kind that comes from witnessing a nuclear explosion. Engineer Bruce Swadian dropped his pencil. It rolled across the mixing board, hit the floor. Nobody moved to pick it up. Assistant engineer Tom Baller stared at the 24-track machine. Reels still spinning. "Smooth Criminal," halfway recorded. Michael's vocal track laid down. Quincy's string arrangements waiting. 3 months of work, about to explode. "Michael," Quincy's voice stayed calm, professional. "We need to talk about this." "Nothing to talk about." Michael didn't look at him. Eyes fixed on the VU meters, red lights dancing. "Your vision doesn't match mine anymore." "My vision?" Quincy set his coffee down. The cup clinked against glass. "We made Thriller together. Off the wall. Biggest albums in history. That was then. This is now. This is now. But you're not going to believe what started this war. 3 hours earlier. Same studio." Michael walked in with new ideas, electronic sounds. Quincy called them noise. "This synthesizer stuff isn't you, Michael. It's the future. It's a fad. It's my album." "Your album?" Quincy's voice rose. "Who made you the king of pop? Who performed those songs every night for 5 years? Without me, you're just another singer." "Wrong thing to say. Without me, you're just another producer nobody remembers." Then Michael delivered the kill shot. "When I tell you you're fired, Quincy, you're fired." What happened next shocked everyone in that studio. Quincy Jones smiled. Not a friendly smile. Not a professional smile. And the smile of someone who'd been waiting for this moment. "You know what, Michael?" He walked to the tape machine. Step by step, hand hovering over the master reel. "You're absolutely right." "Right about what?" "You made me rich. You made me famous." "But you know what you didn't make me?" The room held its breath. Michael waited. Everyone waited. The 24-track machine kept spinning. Stupid. Silence. Then Quincy's hand moved. Grabbed the master tape of Smooth Criminal. 6 hours of work. Michael's lead vocal. String arrangements, drum tracks, all of it. Pulled off the reel. Tangled on the studio floor. "There's your album, Michael." Quincy stepped over the magnetic tape like it was garbage. "Good luck finishing it without me." But that wasn't the insane part. Not even close. Quincy walked to his briefcase. Leather. Italian. Expensive. Clicked it open. Pulled out a stack of papers. Legal documents. Contracts. Publishing agreements. "You fired me, Michael. Fair enough. But you know what these are." Michael stared at the papers. Recognition dawned. Horror followed. "Producer agreements. For every song we've worked on together. Every arrangement I wrote. Every instrumental part I composed." Quincy fanned the papers like playing cards. "Without my permission, you can't release Smooth Criminal. You can't release Bad. You can't release anything we created together. That's not how this works. Michael's voice cracked. First time all day. Read the contract, superstar. Producer credits mean producer rights. I own half of everything we made. The studio went nuclear. Michael lunged for the papers. Quincy pulled them back. Bruce Swedian tried to separate them. Tom Baller called security. Chaos, pure chaos. "You can't do this!" Michael shouted. "Those are my songs!" "Our songs," Quincy shouted back. "And without me, they're nothing." But here's where it gets absolutely insane. Security arrived. 2 guards, big guys, studio regulars who'd seen everything. They'd never seen this. "Quincy, you need to leave." The first guard stepped between them. "Michael, you need to calm down. I'm not leaving without my property." Quincy clutched the contracts. "Those tapes, those arrangements, that's my work. It's my studio time." Michael pointed at the 24-track machine. "My money, my album. Your album that you can't legally release without my signature. Stalemate. Nuclear stalemate." Then Michael did something that changed everything. He walked to the phone. Dialed from memory. "John, it's Michael. I need you at Westlake Studios. Now." Pause. Michael's face changed. Surprise, confusion, understanding. "You already know. How do you already know?" Longer pause. His eyes widened. "He what? When?" Quincy watched Michael's expression. Something was very wrong. "Okay, don't do anything. I'll call you back." Michael hung up, stared at Quincy. Different stare, almost sympathetic. "Quincy, we need to talk." "About what?" "About your Rolling Stone interview." The color drained from Quincy's face. "What phone call?" "To Rolling Stone magazine. About your new tell-all interview. About how difficult I am to work with. About how I'm impossible in the studio." The room went silent. Quincy's briefcase slipped from his hand. Hit the floor. Papers scattered. "The interview comes out next week, Quincy. My lawyer just got a call from the journalist, asking for comment. But here's the part that made everything make sense. You didn't fire me, did you?" Michael's voice was calm now, professional. "You were planning to quit. The interview was your exit strategy. Make me look like a difficult diva. Make yourself look like the victim." Quincy said nothing. His silence was confirmation. "The synthesizer argument, the creative differences, all of it staged. You wanted out, but you wanted to leave with your reputation intact." Michael sat down at the mixing board, calm, in control. "So I saved you the trouble. I fired you before you could quit. Now the story changes. Now you're not the producer who couldn't handle Michael Jackson. You're the producer Michael Jackson couldn't handle." Quincy's shoulders sagged. "Game over. How long have you known?" "About the interview. Since this morning. About you wanting out. Since we started this album. You've been phoning it in for months, Quincy. Going through the motions." Michael stood up. Walked to the scattered tape on the floor. Started gathering it. Careful, methodical. "The question is, what do we do now?" What they did next became music industry legend. 4 hours of negotiation. The Rolling Stone interview killed. The Bad album finished. Together. One last time. But their partnership was over. Both men knew it. Smooth Criminal became one of Michael's biggest hits. The last song Quincy Jones ever produced for the King of Pop. But the story didn't end in that studio. Word spread fast. Hollywood studios, record labels, music journalists. Everyone wanted to know what really happened at Westlake that day. The official story. Creative differences, mutual decision, professional respect maintain. The real story. Only 5 people knew the truth. Michael, Quincy, Bruce Swedian, Tom Baller, and one security guard who signed the most expensive non-disclosure agreement in music history. Bruce Swedian never spoke about it publicly, but years later in private interviews he admitted the day changed how he saw both men. Michael wasn't the sweet kid anymore, Swedian said. He was a businessman, cold, calculating, ruthless when he needed to be. And Quincy learned that day he wasn't irreplaceable. Nobody is. The industry felt the earthquake immediately. Their other producers started demanding different contract terms. Artists began questioning producer royalties. The power balance shifted. Michael Jackson had fired the most successful producer in music history and survived. 6 months later, Bad debuted at #1. Stayed there for 6 weeks. 5 #1 singles. Critics called it Michael's masterpiece. Quincy Jones won 3 Grammys that same year. For other projects, other artists. He proved he didn't need Michael Jackson, but they both proved something bigger. In the music industry, there are no permanent partnerships, only temporary alliances between people who need each other. Until they don't. The Westlake Studios tape vault still holds the original Smooth Criminal master. The one Quincy pulled off the reel, the one they put back together. But studio engineers today call it the $1 million tantrum, the most expensive creative argument in recording history. But Michael and Quincy call it something else. The day they learned the difference between partnership and power. Michael Jackson went on to produce his own albums. Dangerous, History, Invincible, total artistic control. No producer interference. Quincy Jones produced Frank Sinatra, Barbra Streisand, Paul McCartney, proved his genius extended far beyond the king of pop. 2 legends who created magic together, then destroyed their partnership in 4 minutes of fury. But here's what industry insiders know that fans don't. Every producer who works with superstars studies that Westlake confrontation. Not the music they made together, the way it ended. Because in the music business, knowing when to walk away is more valuable than knowing how to make hits. Michael Jackson and Quincy Jones taught an entire industry that lesson, in the most expensive way possible. Quincy Jones produced 3 Michael Jackson albums, Off the Wall, Thriller, Bad. Combined sales over 100 million copies. But those numbers don't tell the real story. The real story is what happened after Westlake Studios. How the industry changed, how power shifted from producers to artists. Before that day, producers controlled everything. Song choice, arrangements, creative direction. Artists were talented employees. After that day, superstars realized they could fire anyone, even legends. Michael Jackson started a revolution in Studio 4. Every major artist since has benefited from it. Prince took complete creative control of his albums. Madonna fired 3 producers in 1 year. Whitney Houston rewrote her contracts, all because, one afternoon, Michael Jackson looked at the most powerful producer in music and said 5 words. "You're fired, Quincy. Get out." The music industry has never been the same. Michael Jackson and Quincy Jones proved that sometimes the best way to preserve a legacy is knowing when to walk away. But here's what they really proved. When 2 legends go to war, the only winner is the music that survives the battlefield.